I do know that quant is a betanwa, of kind of an enemy for a lot of people. We have about 140 days to go. 140 days, are they enough? Especially if you want to really crack this section. I think this session, I'm going to take up that particular question in its entirety. Yes, there are so many things I'm going to tell you. In fact, I'm going to also showcase to you how you can do very, very well in this section, however bad you are, however pathetic you are today. Those of you who do not know me, my name is Arks. As you can see the name, let's look at the agenda. What is the challenge that you have? What are the areas in QA? I am going to talk about the attempt strategy. More importantly, do you have the resources that are available to you? I'm going to talk about that. And then go a little deep into what happened in 2018 and 2019 in each of the areas that CAT has given. With that in mind, let's look at what's the challenge that we have. The challenge that I have is very simple, guys. You want to get into an IIM. In quantitative ability, most institutes, many institutes, I won't call it most, the top institutes have a cutoff. Let's look at the cutoffs. 34 questions, the challenge, 34 questions and 60 minutes challenge that we have. Ahmedabad and Shillong have a 70 percentile cutoff. Oh, that's only 70 percentile, guys. Bangalore, Calcutta, Indore, Kozhikode, the cutoff is 80 percentile. Lucknow, 85 percentile. All the new other IIMs, 80 percentile. Desirable, 99 percentile. Can we minimum target a 95 percentile? You have CL with you, 140 days. That's our challenge. That's what I start off with. 80 percentile all about. How much should I get to get a 99 percentile? That is what I'm going to talk about by taking up CAT 2018 and 2019 numbers. Here they go. Look at this that is given to you. To get an 80 percentile, this quantitative section has 34 questions. Each question is +3 marks. Of course, you have negatives. -1 for a wrong question. -1 for a wrong question. We have 60 minutes to solve. 60 minutes to solve. 60 minutes to solve. Look at it. Once again, for a moment I go back. For a moment I go back. To get an 80 percentile, that's your Bangalore, Calcutta, Indore, Kozhikode cutoff. Only IIM Lucknow has 85 percentile cutoff in CAT. Only IIM Lucknow. All others are 80 percentile or below. Like as you can see, Ahmedabad and Shillong is only 70 percentile for a general category student, even if you're unfortunately a gem. 80 percentile. That's the bare minimum that everybody wants. Can you get it? That's one. But my desire would be 99 or even a 99.9. But let's come back to that later. At the best case scenario, or rather the worst case scenario, is 24 marks. 8 questions. 8 questions. To pick 8 questions in 60 minutes. 34 questions. Let's say you read, I'm saying this. Let's say you read every question for 30 seconds. 30 seconds per question you read. That means how much time? 17 minutes you spend time on reading questions itself. You still have 43 minutes. You still have 43 minutes. Chalo, 3 minutes wahan bhi de dete hain. Or, theek hai, 3 minutes I'll keep it with myself. Just think. 40, you pick 8 questions out of all the 34 from all the areas put together. 8 questions. Give 5 minutes each. बीच में सो जाओ. You can't get 24, guys. This is slot 1, slot 2, slot 1, slot 2 of 2019 and 2018 respectively. These are the scores. 8 questions, 5 minutes. 80 percentile nahi aaya. We should just go jump in a lake. Don't commit suicide unnecessarily. But all I'm trying to say is 140 days to go. So whether you're getting 0 marks, 3 marks, 30 marks, 25 marks, 90 marks, it doesn't matter. Guys, first it should go into your brains that this is doable. Of course, if you don't do anything for the next 140 days and just sleep like Rip Van Winkle, you get nothing out of it. However, if you are ready to put in some effort and seriously some effort, 80 percentile is a cinch. Not getting it is anybody who has passed 10th class. Anybody who has passed 10th class should be able to get it. You know, the only reason people don't get it is because they do not put in effort. Can I get 90 percentile? 11 questions. 11 questions. Can I get 95 percentile? I mean, 14 questions. Chalo, 15 questions. I have still the same idea. 2.5 minutes I can give to each of the questions. And I can get it. Familiarity, my friends, with the questions, with the areas of what you have done in your 8th, 9th, and 10th can get you there. And those of you who are really desirous of 99 plus percentile, I'm going to showcase to you that, boss, you can get 99 kya, 99.9 also if you start putting in the effort right from today. Even if you have started today, I think you can get there. So what does this quantitative ability have? What are the areas that you need to work on? Arithmetic is one area which can kind of give you lots and lots of marks. That 95 percentile you can get it just with arithmetic. Algebra, you can get it 90 percentile with algebra alone. Arithmetic in 20 minutes and algebra in 20 minutes. If you can go 40 minutes, you can get together, you can get 99 plus percentile. Forget about touching numbers, numbers theory, geometry, mensuration, and modern math. But yes, you can do that also. And I'm going to tell you how much to study, where to study from too. Let's look at how each one of them gets stacked up. What is arithmetic? What are the areas under arithmetic? Very quickly, profit and loss, partnerships. Okay, I'm sorry. Ratios, proportion and variation. There is a reason why I put in percentage, profit and loss at the very beginning. If you really look at it, really look at it, the whole of arithmetic is this. The whole of arithmetic is this. These are only applications of arithmetic. These are applications of arithmetic. Applications. These are all applications of arithmetic. None of them require you to do anything else. If, for example, if I'll just take one example here, one very, very important example here. If in percentages, let's say there is a value called 100. Let's say this increases by 25%. New value is 125, correct? So this is a very simple thing. If something goes up by 25%, what is 25%? 1/4, or it becomes 5/4. If you want to get it back here, if you want to get it back to 125 to 1, how much should I reduce? 25 I reduce on 125. Here I have increased to 25 on 100. So I have increased 1/4. 25%. That means the new value is becoming 5/4 of the original value. But if I want the original value from the new value, I'll call it original value. 125, it has to reduce to 100. I'm reducing 25 value, but I'm reducing 1/5. If I'm reducing 1/5, what am I doing? I am making it 4/5. If something goes up by 25%, what will go down? It will go down by 20%. This is the first thing that you will realize between percentages and ratios. If something goes up by 5/4, it comes down by 4/5. Understand? This is the first logic. Now, in profit and loss, I have a concept in percentages. Therefore, there is a concept which says my percentage increase is equal to final value minus initial value by initial value into 100. This is the same thing in percentages, guys. Percentage increase is equal to final value minus initial value by initial value, because the increase is on the initial value. This is what we have done. Now let's look at what is profit percentage. Profit percentage. Profit percentage is nothing but selling price minus cost price by cost price into 100. Or here it is FV by IV minus 1 into 100. It is S by C minus 1 into 100. Exactly the same idea with the concept is the same with increase and decrease kind of things. Then in percentages, we have this very interesting, I'm just looking at a couple of concepts which are very, very, E is equal to P into Q. Expenditure is equal to price into quantity. If price goes up by 25%, 5/4 times, what should happen to the quantity? It should become 4/5 of the quantity. This is what is expenditure if nothing changes in the expenditure. If price goes up by 25%, then quantity should go down by 20%. This is one of the concepts that we have learned in percentages, and the same thing will happen in profit and loss. If I increase the price by 25%, how much should I reduce it to get back the original? 20%. Now you might think, why am I talking all these things? Wait, look at time and work. There is a concept called man days. The total amount of work done is equal to men into days. This is one thing which you have learned. If the number of men goes up, the number of days required goes down. If the number of men goes up by 25%, the required days goes down by 20%. If this goes up by 5/4, this goes down by 4/5. That is what we've done. Same concept of what we have done in your profit and loss. I'm not done with it. Look at this last concept. Distance is equal to speed into time for the same distance. Similarly, for the same work, for the same expenditure. For the same expenditure, you will have to figure out if my speed goes up by 25%, what should my time do down? It will go down by 20%. If speed goes up, that is 5/4 times of speed, what happens to my time? It becomes 4/5 times of the time. Now, why am I wasting my time here? You might think. What I am trying to say is very, very simple. When people think that quantitative ability is so huge, it isn't. It has very few concepts. It has a percentage increase, percentage decrease converted into your ratios and going up or going down. Whether it is, by the way, simple interest, compound interest, exactly the same thing. Compound interest is nothing but what? Interest. If you, there is a initial principal, interest, amount. What is it if it is not an initial value and a final value? Except that these are all concepts, the basic concept of ratios and percentages. If you understand, everything is so related that you will not think it off as a new topic. Once again, if you look at algebra, the areas that are there are basics of indices, logarithms, quadratic equations, progression, sequence and series, functions and inequalities, and set theory and Venn diagram. This is all that is algebra. Now, please understand, with arithmetic and algebra put together, we are talking about a minimum of 22 questions to a maximum of 26 questions in the paper. 1/3 is 12 questions. Let's take it. 12 questions. Half of them, if you notice, at the bare minimum, 50% of them, if you do them right, 60 minutes of an exam. I mean, I really don't understand why people don't get 90 percentile. Numbers, though the number of questions that come in numbers have reduced over the last so many years, 3 to 4 questions can still come in. But because of understanding of numbers, your permutations, combinations, and every other area becomes that much more easier. The topics or the concepts which are there are these: classification of numbers, divisibility rules, LCM and HCF models. You know, n is equal to a to the power p, b to the power q. How do you get the number of factors, sum of factors, ways of product of two factors, number of ways in which you can express this as a product of two factors, number of ways when you can express it as the product of two co-primes, all those questions. Powers of primes in factorials, you will get them. Then remainder theorem and the last digit of a power. You have various kinds of concepts which are there in your numbers. You know, there are no questions here, but there could be 5 to 10 questions if you solve. Here there are 5 models. Each model you do 50 questions. Again, 4 types of questions, 40 questions. Powers of primes and factorials, maybe about 20 questions. Remainder theorem, maybe about 20 questions. Okay, there could be a last 2 digits also. Sometimes it comes in 20 questions. You're talking about 50, 60, 90, 110, 150, maybe 160. Approximately 200 questions if you solve of the whole of numbers, you will be very, very good at numbers. And revise it twice. Don't do new questions. Revise the same things again if required be. Then geometry and mensuration. What is there in geometry and mensuration? You have angles, triangles, one very, very basic area called basic proportionality theorem. Quadrilaterals, of course, various kinds of, areas, how rectangles are made, squares, parallelograms, rhombuses, a little bit difficult. Polygons and circles. And mensuration, of course, has the areas, total surface area and volumes. This has almost no intelligence in this. It is just about by hearting your formulae and just application of the formulae more often than not. 4 to 6 questions, sometimes 7 questions come in geometry mensuration too. 4 to 6 questions can come in geometry mensuration too. I am giving you in a nutshell what is it that you need to prepare for. Today I'm going to very, very briefly speak about strategy for quant. There are multiple strategies. I'm going to talk about 2 strategies here. First, strategy number 1, if I call it strategy 1, is something very, very simple. All I want you to do is read almost every question one by one. If you read a question, in fact, this is called a 2-round strategy. 2-round strategy. And it's a very useful strategy to have. In round 1, I give about 35 minutes. And get my 90 percentile. That is my first expectation. What is 90 percentile, my friends? 90 percentile is 8 to 9 questions. Sorry, 11 questions. 11 questions. 10 to 11 questions can I solve in 35 minutes by reading every question and solving 10 to 11 questions. Round 2 is my 20 minutes. When I am doing my round 1, I am also marking 8 to 10 questions while solving 10 to 11 questions. In my round 2, I solve 8 to 10 questions. If I can do this 18 to 21, I will get my 99 percentile also, if not more. Now, those of you are really not good, doing very in this, what you will probably do is something like this. You will probably, instead of getting 10 to 11 questions, you might just get about 8 questions, 7 to 8 questions. Why? So that you can at least guarantee your 80 percentile first in 35 minutes, and then mark about 4 to 6 questions. And in this 20 minutes, do these 4 to 6 questions to make sure that you are doing anywhere between 12 to 14 questions and get your 90 percentile. This is the worst case scenario. This is the best case scenario that you can say. Of course, those of you are getting 99.99 percentile, I'm not going to stop you. You should do all 34 on 34 if you can. But the second strategy is a slightly different strategy. In fact, rather, I would say a slightly different, like completely different strategy, where I am saying, listen, I have 34 questions. I have 60 minutes. Whatever I can solve, I'll do this. So I will put 6 questions, 10 minutes strategy. 6 questions, 10 minutes. 6 questions, 10 minutes. 6 questions, 10 minutes. 6 questions, 10 minutes. 4 questions, 10 minutes. What I am saying is, I will take up first 6 questions. If I can solve 2 to 3 questions, great. If I can solve 2 questions only, great. 1 to 2 questions, great. 3 to 4 questions, great. 2 to 3 questions, great. 1 to 2 questions, great. Minimum I will do is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 questions. Maximum I will do probably will be about 16. This is the bare minimum. Those of you who are, that means, you know what? First 10 minutes, I read all 6 questions in the first 2 minutes. Identify the 2 questions that I can solve. I have 3 minutes to solve each of them. Very systematically, I will go there. And very clearly, and if I can't do any of the 6, I have saved my 8 minutes. I'll come back and give it to it later on. But that's what you need to do. This is a strategy. A lot more of how I should go into strategy, the mock discussions that will happen, we will do it. But suffice it to say, these 2 strategies are really useful. Now, those of you who are a little not very confident about this, you can make it like divide 34 into 4, 8, 9 questions, and make it 15 minutes if you want. 9 questions, 15 minutes, 9, 9, 9, and 7 kind of things. That also you can do it 15, 15, 15, and 7, whichever way is comfortable. But I typically prefer this strategy for a simple reason that it ensures that I read all questions, I should not leave an easy question that I have. This is what happened in Arithmetic 2018 and 19. You can make a quick understanding of this. 15 questions, sorry, my mistake. Okay, fine. 15 questions in arithmetic in 2019 slot 1, and slot 2 14. Slot 1 of 18 was 14, and slot 2 unfortunately was 13. But then look at my 95 percentile. Once again, I'm putting it across to you. 43 marks, 44 marks. But just realize this very interesting thing, guys. When the number of questions of arithmetic went down, the 95 percentile also went down. When the number of 95 percentile, when the number of arithmetic went up, the 95 percentile also went up a bit. Then look at algebra, what happened? Algebra, quadratics, progressions, indices and logs, functions, 11 questions. Here there was slightly less. If you look at it, 11 questions, 10 questions all the time. You will get 11 threes are 33 or 9 threes are 27, minimum of 80 to 85 percentile if you do just algebra alone. This is geometry for you. Again, 6 questions, 6 to 7 questions. Closest to, even with just geometry, you're closest to, IIM Ahmedabad cutoff is guaranteed. With just geometry, IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Shillong cutoff is guaranteed. Can you beat this? Of course, you'll have to see it to believe it. This is exactly what this CAT paper for the last 2 years has been. And of course, numbers, there were about 3 to 4 questions every slot. Only in CAT 2018, slot 1, there were less numbers. What I'm trying to say is that if this is what it is, can you just start preparing right now. So here is what I would say. Thank you so much. Best shot. And if there's anything, mail me on my email ID.